All right. Good evening and welcome to this evening service. We'll begin with our prayer for peace.
Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen.
Well, thank you for coming. My name is Reverend Mary Huber. I'm the pastor of the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing, an organization founded by Michelle Lusan, Reverend Michelle Lusan, a mystic and channel of the multidimensional consciousness. This was done in 1977 through prompting to her from Swami Sivananda, who appeared to her in spirit and asked her to begin this organization and place it in the Washington, D.C. area so that we would be here as a light for the nation's capital. We have been here ever since then, and we have bi-monthly, chapel services, and we have other activities as well. And our mission is to help individuals and therefore the global community to do their process of awakening and transformation. So, to that end, we will begin with one of the sets of affirmations Michelle channeled in many years ago, which is we call it the healing affirmations, the three healers. But they're faith, hope, and charity, and they balance all the energy systems of the human. And they're wonderful to keep in your home and say it daily to bring everything back into an alignment for yourself. The faith affirmation: I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. In this reflection that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, needs, and opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. The hope affirmation: acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity, I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. The charity affirmation: in understanding faith and knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth, to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. Thank you. Well, we begin with a topic I think that is very appropriate for our times that we're in. And I wanted to talk about life as a sacred treasure. There are many people today who may not look at life that way. And I think it's important that we remember about our life, about why we're here, and all of that. Now, I'm going to say that the most of this will be heard by those present this evening, will be like re-listening to Spirituality 101. But because we have a YouTube channel and this will be posted, I am confident that at some point there will be those who will come upon this, who will want this information. And I wanted to make sure it was clear that everyone has this opportunity to understand this. So I'm going to begin with my slideshow. I think I am anyway. Okay, play from the beginning. There we go. I wanted to remind everybody that how we are composed and why we are here, because that is all tied in with our topic this evening. And our holistic system has 4 components: body, emotions, mind, and spirit. Now, the split down the middle is to indicate that there are 2 systems in play. The body and emotions belong to the physical earth. They are of an electromagnetic nature. The mind and spirit are of the spiritual, and that is a subatomic form. We ourselves are actually spirit. We are mind and spirit. Interesting. I was watching a little clip the other day about somebody had filmed someone making a transition. There was a nurse covering the body and attending to the body, and then you would see these orbs that were coming and going on the video. And usually, I haven't seen orbs for quite a while, but usually it is this a kind of a indication of the presence of spirit. And people need to realize that when you're in spirit, you do not have this form. You really are a bright, I guess, like an orb of energy, pure energy. That's who we are, essentially, from our own understanding of what spirit is. So that when we inhabit the body, we are inhabiting a different form. So we have 2 natures. Now,
Can you hear me?
yes?
Can you share your screen?
Oh dear. I'm sorry. Let me go back out of this.
I think you brought it up, but haven't shared yet.
Thank you for letting me know that, because I'm assuming you're all watching what I'm watching. Okay, I have to go all the way through this. All right. Thank you for that. Told you I was going to need prompting tonight. Thank you.
No worries.
All right, share. Here we go. All right, we're going to go back to the beginning. I'll go back to this screen and I'll go to
Perfect. Thank you.
This is the what I was speaking of, the body, mind, and spirit. So it's important that we remember that we are spirit inhabiting a physical form. The other arrangement that I would like everyone to be aware of, that we talk about the Christ consciousness, and people are thinking that the Christ consciousness or Christ is relative, only to the Christian religion, which is not true. This is every single soul coming into the planet and inhabiting a form. This is your spiritual. We see the body. We don't see this part. This is the arrangement that we have in spirit when we are in our physical form. That is the figure at the bottom is us involved in the physical body. And what is around us and invisibly and inhabiting in us and animating us is all of the energy, or all these other energies. The Christ consciousness is in every single soul who comes in this planet. It's It doesn't matter whether you acknowledge Christ or not. The Christ consciousness is a universal consciousness, very elevated consciousness that we all participate in as spiritual beings in spirit. We all are aware of that. We all are looking when we come into the physical to emulate that. And what is above that is you can see the Holy Spirit above the Christ there. And then at the very pinnacle of this is our Creator, our individual souls who have been created by God at some point in time. That is the pinnacle of who we are. That is the perfection of our own being. That is beyond any of this earthly, anything earthly. It is the perfection that is exactly the same as the great creator of all, the original creator of all of everything that is. That is our perfection within us. Now, we are looking to arise to that. We're looking to, first of all, arise to the Christ consciousness. And that is our real reason to be here, is to rise within our own understanding. And our behaviors will follow that, so that we will come in with a commission from spirit, so to speak. It's very difficult for individuals who are in have less advantages in the world to understand that the soul chose to come in. It isn't haphazard. Every soul has been given the understanding before. You have the readout beforehand. There is a reason that that soul wants to come in to be embodied on the earth. And that reason is known to that individual spiritual I am present. That's who's sending that individual soul in and creating a vehicle or a reason to be here. So the consciousness that comes in is relative to the lifespan of that is needed by the soul to make its spiritual advances. And it is very unique to the individual. It's very different for everyone. We have a lot of commonalities that go into our experience on earth as souls, and we certainly can relate to each other because of these things. But it's not relative to everybody at all times. This is difficult, maybe, if you don't have this understanding from your own religion that you might have been part of in the beginning as far as your training. But it does give you the understanding that your commitment to this lifetime was a definite spiritual commitment. You have a union with this, with your God on this. God has sent you in and said, this is why you're here. There are things from your past that need to be changed. And the soul is saying, I'm asking you to step up and handle the situation better in this lifetime. And when you learn better behaviors and understand what the Christ is telling you within yourself, then you will do better in life and make advances in the world and share with each other what you know that is right and good and will uplift other people. This would be a wonderful happening for everybody if they could keep following that. But each one of us has had difficulty as time has gone on, what we call time, that the soul has come in many times for most of us and sent in us as individual people with different personalities, because you have to meet the challenge of that time and the mission that you have as an individual. So all of this has occurred for all the souls who are here. And it's so important that people understand. I'm hoping that the people will understand that this is the crux of the whole talk tonight, really. Has to do with how your life is so important to your soul and for the whole mission that you've done, that your sacred mission is to be embodied. And if each individual could be given that as an understanding, perhaps it might be a little bit easier for people to keep, I guess, stay in line with a much higher and better view and part, a part of themselves that would be much different than what they are exhibiting in any particular time and space, because this arrangement is true of everyone, and everybody being at their own level of development. One of the things that we have been understanding is that when we get that ability to handle things better, we do have the, I guess, commission from spirit as well to help another person to get up in their own understanding of who they are, to value their life differently, and to bring up their performance at a much higher level. It would be much easier for the world and for everybody in the world if we were all kind of using that format for moving forward in life. Now, why we're here. Physical, we have all of these components that I just talked to you about, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and each one has a reason, has a performance, has something to perform in our life. And the physical man is always about survival. The physical part, the pure physical part, is to survive. Now, in these times that we're going through now, we are making a switch from the very old world view that we have all held, that has kept us sort of enslaved to making all these mistakes all the time because we haven't understood things very well. Now, as we're getting more awake and to spirit, the physical man is also in the future going to be not so much about survival as the physical, but it's going to want to be there in its perfect form, because what's going to be most important in the upcoming era is going to be the survival of the spiritually fit, not the physically fit so much, because the physical is not going to be so much of an issue in the future as the other part of ourselves. It's the mental, it's the spiritual end that will need to come up and make that mark. So it's going to be more about surviving spiritually in the future. Now, the big reason to come into the planet in the very beginning was because there was an emotional component to the earth. So all of the earth was formed with as it was formed, there was a unique element that the animal, and even I know the plants, that everything that was built on the planet, was growing on the planet, had the ability to have some form of response, emotional response. And the animal world was definitely very, very much involved in that. And it had a unique flavor to it, to the point where when spirit recognized that, it was then used as a place where we as individual spiritual beings could come and experience the planet and make our mark here on earth as an accomplished spiritual being, and even magnify and beautify and bring up the world around us so that we are even making it more glorified, because our nature is of higher creative consciousness. That's who we are. And we had a higher frequency in our spirit than what was going on in the physical earth. So when our spirit combined with the new species that was formed, which was the human, which hadn't been around all the time, this was developed for us to have as a vehicle. And it was specifically designed so that when higher creative consciousness merged with the physical human form, it could perform on Earth. Because after all, if you're going to come in to experience any place at all, you are essentially invisible to that plane. It's a third dimensional world. All of these other dimensions are not visible to that world. So if you're going to be visible to each other on the planet and visible to the rest of nature, you have to have a form. So you come into the form that was created, which was the physical human form. And it it comes in at the time of birth, and it enlivens, it activates the enlivening process. That's when the baby takes the breath. And the soul is fully there. It could be there a bit beforehand, but it's certainly fully there in the first breath. And all the systems are in place. It connects at the level of the spinal cord, in the central nervous system, and it sets up its chakras and all the other energy systems in the body, so that it becomes then completely united. So while we're here in the physical, all of those two natures are completely united, and our physical is dependent upon our spiritual nature being there, obviously. So mental man is always a drive in our mental to always expand our knowledge, to understand, to create, to bring ourselves into this world in a way that we could do something different here than we could when we were in spirit in different other places. And the spiritual side of our life always wanted us to remember who we are. Remember that we are higher creative consciousness. Remember God within us. God lives in us. Our creator is part and parcel. This is who we are. We are higher creative consciousness. And we have to keep remembering, because when we lose the sight of that, when we come in here, we have to resurrect that again. People around us have to help us get there. And because we want to have a relationship with our divine creator, because this is the most important part now, is finding this to know ourselves to be greater than a physical form, because that has kept us back in the past. So we have to know ourselves that we are an integrated system of physical and spiritual, and that our mission is really to know who we really are, relate to ourselves through the Christ self within us, and expand our better experience on the world and help the world to lift itself up. Because as human beings, we have a responsibility there, because we have had problem misusing the physical in many times, in many ways. So it's important that we realize that every single lifetime is important, that everybody's lifetime on the planet is important to that individual, because their whole setup within them, they want to make the mark that they set up, even though it's not going to be, it's definitely isn't going to be the same as ours, but theirs is just as important to their souls as ours is. So this is something I created some time back, that to explain it to some of the nurses that I was teaching about. Higher creative intelligence comes into the form, you become the human being. And the influences that you have on you as a human being are your genetics, which once you selected those from spirit, you can't change those after that. Once you select them and you come in. So those influences that you are depending upon because you selected the genetics will be part and parcel of your life. Now, your early conditioning, hopefully, you have been able to come into a situation where the early conditioning was helpful. And God only knows that there are so many people who haven't had really good people and helpful people around them in early conditioning. And this gives us an opportunity to step up and step forward and help when we can, when we know that this needs to be improved. And certainly with the new energies that are coming into the planet, this early conditioning, we are dependent upon great parents who are spiritual and understanding the Christ and what it means to be a Christed or somebody who comes in with higher attitudes and develops themselves along higher standards. We would hope that the parents would know that, that they can teach their children. And we definitely need teachers to understand that their influence on the children is a critical factor in how their outcome of how they develop. So it's important that the teachers learn and be spiritually aware of what it means to bring the higher creative self out into that individual, bringing their standards and their values and their everything within them up, and teach them how to live life at a different level than the old world was not very kind about teaching, and apparently didn't know very much about it. So we would like to get the souls up and running a lot better, because once you get past that and you start thinking for yourself and start wanting to improve yourself in life, the early conditioning has already happened. So the only thing that's left, but it is important, is our lifestyle choices. Everything we do and every choice we make is setting us up in life for our future, for our behaviors, for our future successes or failures. It has to do with choice. Now, one thing that we have been guaranteed from Spirit is this world you would come in and have free will. And as far as I know, that is the leveler for human beings, because certainly circumstances aren't, but every single person has free will. That is the evening out part. So we can all learn to make better choices. This is why early conditioning hopefully can help young people make those better choices as they're growing up and not come up to the problems that they have in life. Certainly, we could have used maybe some better coaching along other lines as we were coming through life. As we got older, we realized, gee, I know I was taught this, but I can see now as I'm getting older that I can make better choices than what I've been thinking I had from my early life conditioning and the people around me. Because God bless them, they only were passing on what they knew. And this is why our now, with a new consciousness coming in, this is accelerating the level of individual performance will be much different in the future. And this is where peace will come in, because this is part and parcel of a new, better age that's coming. Now, for those who do not know this or may be coming upon this information, this is a period where we are going through a great deal of turmoil, because the old is coming down. The old structures that did not work for us, that we created in error, are coming down, and the new is being built, and there is resistance everywhere, and there's turmoil everywhere because it's different. And to be gracefully growing in this time is difficult for some people, and they are hanging on to the old for all. I don't know why they're I guess afraid of going into the future. I don't know why it is that traumatic for them, but it is. Now, what is happening? I'm just going to make a very quick reference here, because this was something that did come in from Spirit to me months ago, probably maybe a year ago. This is something Michelle has taught, that your how you view life, how you view yourself, how you view other people, how you view life is reflected in your belief systems and attitudes. What we get taught at the knee, those early teachings, and what is our teachers in school or whatever else we're involved in are teaching us forms our belief structure. And that belief structure is rarely challenged by anybody until they run in, you run into it as you're older. You don't usually run into it when you're young because you believe that what you're being taught is so. But that belief gives you an attitude about people, about things, about life, about situations. You develop it. It's part of having the belief system. You have an attitude about something. And when you hold that attitude, and that attitude is triggered by something somebody does or says, it immediately stimulates an emotion. And the emotion, as Michelle taught, was an autonomic response to a given attitude from a stimulus, which I just said, which triggers an instinctual emotional reaction. So whether, and it can be either positive or negative, but I guess the one that mostly comes up that we're probably looking at more often are the negative ones. But because that is something that has kept us back without examining beliefs and assuming they're correct. People have gone on to have emotional responses and reactions because they never questioned that what they were believing is wrong at all, because this is what they know, this is what they were taught. So it's important that people realize this. Now, what is going on right now in this turmoil period of time for a lot of people, maybe I can't speak to everybody in the world, but certainly a lot of people are having a belief system that has been actually given to them because they have been listening to something over and over, and something that a group that they go to, or I don't know where they're getting this, but they have a structure that they go to was feeding them information. Now, some of it was wonderful and some of it were not, but they bought into something. They have a belief structure and they are reactively, emotionally, negatively running around without examining whether this is true. Should I make a different, uh, you know, is there anything else I don't know about this? Am I doing any critical thinking about this? No, usually this doesn't involve critical thinking. The emotional response is pretty automatic. And because of that, it's what Spirit has told me, as I said about a year ago, is that those who are only involved in this extreme emotional reaction are actually stuck in their bodies. They're not going to their mind. They're not going for critical thinking. They're not going to evaluation. They're not going into the higher part of themselves, into their spiritual side. They're in their physical world reacting. And they said if this constitutes being a place of being stuck. And that's something that, as a nurse, I have always thought was the most awful thing, that when I was taking care of people with different neurological or strokes, problems of things like that, when they are stuck in their body and they can't get out of it, they can't move, they can't do things on their own, they can't do things at a higher level. I always thought that was such a tragic place to be. And my heart and soul and I just always wanted to do so much more for them because they're physically impaired. And without being physical impaired, if you're stuck only in your emotions, you're not doing any spiritual work, any critical thinking and backing away and getting a better view, they're stuck in the same place. And it says that this is tragic And hopefully that they can be moved out of that in time. This is spiritually, they would like to make a move from the higher levels of spirit so that something can come in to give them a chance to reevaluate their responses and come up and make life better for themselves and for other people around them. It will be an advance for them to be able to respond better because, all of us are in the position of learning balance in our lives. And the higher energies that we have are represented by this higher circle, and our lower physical form is represented by a lower circle. And what crosses in the middle is the heart. The heart is where people need to be able to get to. It is the place where you can synthesize what is being done here and what you are perceiving. Perceiving here is reality, but am I perceiving it correctly? I have to check with it. I have to check with my heart. My heart will tell me, is this true or is this not true? This is your sensitivity in life, is your heart center. And that is part and parcel of your spiritual. It isn't a physical experience at all. The mind and heart of God is one thing. The mind and heart of our higher self is one thing. It's different aspects of it. And as you're looking at the evaluation, the thoughts that are coming in, is this thought and these series of thoughts? You can have any kind of thoughts that come in. But if you're going to grab them and use them and develop something, you really need to take the thought from your head and present it to the part of you that is your heart and say, all right, would this make sense? Is this truth? Is this honorable? Is this elevated enough for me to take this thought and do something with it? The heart will tell us this. So what is really saving humanity and will save humanity and is always the heart, the love of God that represents this in ourselves, that comes from the Father, Mother God, the heart of our own being. If we would go to there, this would be where people could do some sorting out. Is this honestly where you really want to go to? This is where the feelings are. The feelings are not emotions. Feelings, there are two ways there's a way of looking at it that might help. When you go, a feeling goes to the higher heart center. You're looking for the sense of correctness, rightness, wrongness. How does this match up with higher values and things like that? When you're in the emotional, you're in your physical form. You're not in the higher heart center. You're in your three lower centers. You're mainly your second chakra. And your three lower chakras do not go with you into spirit when you leave the planet. You lift from the heart up. The three lower chakras, as Michelle always taught, will stay in an electromagnetic belt. And I don't know how that works, but she said it stays waiting for you to come back and clean those three lower chakras up because they represent behaviors that have been not quite right. And you can come back in another lifetime, pick it up and use it again. This is the whole cycle of coming into the world, is coming in to clean up those three lower chakras, not the higher ones. The higher ones are operating at a different frequency. So feelings come from the heart, emotions come from the lower second chakra, where that can be right on target. Doesn't mean it's wrong and there's anything wrong with it, but it certainly needs to be recognized that Emotions belong to the physical. The physical form gets the emotion. So I guess my one clarification, I think, for people would be please don't interchange feelings and emotions as being the same thing. They're not. Recognize that if somebody, what the differences are. And unfortunately, people use them interchangeably without understanding that there is something much higher and finer to go to for your answers and not the lower chakras. So when we are valuing our life and we see the sacredness of life, we are certainly going to our heart. We are looking at the rightness and wrongness, the correctness, how we view things, and we learn all the time. Our heart is always expanding. But when we connect with the heart of our Creator, you're in the right place. We are in the right, there is no doubt about it. This is why doing spiritual work, bringing your energy away from um, looking at things at only a physical level and seeing where you come from, seeing the value of life, working so that you're going into the Christ consciousness, which is the love, the compassion, the understanding, the mutual support that we give to each other. It's all of those wonderful feminine qualities that we admire and hope that we can all attain. Those are all part and parcel of our Christ self. So when we are behaving at those levels, we are really behaving more like our Christ self. So it's important that we understand this, to set the intention every day to get up and say, today I dedicate to Christ. I dedicate to my Christ self, and I want that to express through me. Setting intention for the day. You can set you can say it any which way you want to, but you just get up and make that clear to yourself that this day, and offer it to Christ, offer it to God, offer it to your Creator, and say, this is where I want to be today. This is my intention, and I'm asking for help in that realm so that keep me on track. And if you can put an image with it, I'm going to just let you know that a lot of how we set things in motion is through image. Our, I guess they call it now they're calling the mammalian brain, doesn't deal with words. It's the thing that will set things into motion very quickly because it likes habit. It likes to do things routinely, but it doesn't listen to words. It doesn't have that language. It has the language of images. So if you can put an image of Christ out, or an image of something higher and finer that you want to keep targeting, give that to the middle part of your brain. That Michelle said, we have 3 levels of brain, the reptilian, she called it, which is keeping our respirations and our heartbeat and all of that going in the body. And the next layer was the animal brain, or the animal, they call it mammalian brain, where has to do with everything that is to do with the emotional field. It's very emotionally wired in there. All of the emotional responses come from that part of the brain. And then we have the neocortex, the cortex that is placed over that so that we could reach our higher mind, our intention, our brain that goes with God into spirit. We have a higher brain functioning within us because of the 3 levels of brain. So, but do put an image out there. And during the day, see if there's anything that you can monitor about your thinking about yourself, about life, that would be not in keeping with the image and the intention that you put out there. It's the more you advance yourself down that line, just try it a little bit every day so that you can do some thinking about, okay, am I calling myself names? Am I calling other people names? Am I denigrating anything at all? Or am I uplifting it? Just notice what you're doing so that you can watch your thoughts and you can, once you know what you're doing, you can start making some changes. But you don't know, if you don't know it, you can't make any changes. That's for sure. So, the energy of love is what the universe is actually constructed from. There is no shortage of love in the universe. Love is the energy that God forces, the higher forces of light use to build. Love is a building energy. It is something that will never decay. It's always about coming out into the perfection of the whatever you're looking at. It's always elevated and it's always looking to improve and to match something higher and finer always. But this energy will always, as you increase it, as you're looking to expand onward and upward, will always help your personal energy. The energy that we are connected with our physical and our spiritual energy can, you notice there are people who run on their spiritual energy. You wonder where they get all their energy from. It really is coming in from a different level of themselves. It's not coming in from their physical so much. If they keep their physical vehicle in fairly good shape and you have a very high connection to your own creator and your own drive to be as good a person as you can be, as much in the Christ self as possible, you do have more energy. Those higher level of energy will override an awful lot of physical aches and pains and everything else. So that this is important when we get into not feeling well or coming down with something symptom wise. If you can elevate your awareness to a place where you can elevate your frequencies, higher frequency will clear everything out below it. So this is important to know that and believe in that. The power of your faith in God, the power of belief is so strong that this is the advancement that we can make in any one lifetime is amazing. The more faith you can have in your creator, in life, faith in life working for you, not against you. Faith that everything is in divine order. And it's just interesting that it's some people can do that a lot easier than others. And I think over lifetime, believing that everything is in divine order, when people say this, I've heard this for years and years, and sometimes you go through at the end and go, wait a minute, I don't know that this is in divine order. Well, when you're in the right line of thinking with you're lined up with your creator, when you're lined up with positive energy and you are doing what you know to be the higher and finer best thing in life, God will move us in the direction. If we're not quite on target, God will be able to move us. I've always been told by spirit that spirit cannot move something that has no motion to it. You have to be in motion. So just even putting your foot out or putting a thought out and making some effort, you will, and ask for help then from higher, from your guides, from your angels, from God, from your creator. That will be given to you and you will be moved in a way that will make more sense to your life and would put you in the right direction because that is able to be done by God. But if you can't move forward, if you're stuck, it's important that get some help somewhere so that you can start making moves on moving onward and upward because the Christ self is waiting for you at every moment of your day. There isn't a moment that Christ isn't calling and saying, "Come to me." Everything that you need is within. The kingdom of heaven truly is within. And life itself is elevated because you're now in line with that higher functioning that God placed on the planet. And the beauty of world, the beauty of life will be part and parcel of your life every day. So move in that direction and know that staying in balance with your higher self, with your keeping your physical in good shape, and making sure that every day you are doing some energy work that has to do with bringing you closer to your creator, you will go through life knowing that your life is indeed guided and you do have the power of God within you. Now, I'd like to take us into a meditation. I'm going to begin by, if you will, taking you and the people here with me this evening are all experienced meditators. So just as a quick, for those who have not done a lot of meditating, how I work this is that we begin with a lot of deep breathing. So relaxing your physical, letting go of whatever is bothering you for right this moment in your life. Just let go of all of your issues that you have and come deeply within and go first to your heart. And from your heart, that should be a beautiful place. Go out, and I'm going to ask you to go to this scene, and I'm going to talk about the scenery, and then I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to give you time to do your own understanding of your connection to your creator. And then there will be about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll come back. So right now we're doing some deep breathing. And if you're looking at the picture now, you might be able to see yourself taking in deep breaths from the mountain air. It's clear and it's exhilarating. It's just wonderful. It just brings you such clarity. It's amazing. But I want you to go very, very, very much into a place where find it beautiful. Could be a house, a garden, a castle, doesn't matter, a church, doesn't matter. That represents your heart. That's the first place you go. So don't go to the mountain yet. I want you to go into the beautiful environment. This will just represent your heart. Your heart is vast. It's connected to the universal heart. It's beautiful. It's expansive. It's generous. It's comforting. It's so beautiful. It's breathtaking. And this place, you find an altar. Your creator is here in your heart. Your silver cord is placed there at the time of your birth and is connected directly to your creator. It's on an altar, and it could be behind a golden tabernacle. You might see a golden tabernacle, and if you opened it, there would be the threefold flame, the seed atom of the power, the love, and the wisdom of your creator. It burns on the altar. It's the living flame of your own creator there, giving you all that you are in this lifetime. This is where you can come, and at any time and speak to your Creator, because this is the connection. It's in your heart. And making that connection will bring to you angelic forms, will be attracted to you here. Beautiful, glowing light forms will join you and will support you. Here, as you settle into your loving embrace of your Creator, this is peace. You find your inner peace here. And from here, I'd like you to go to the mountains, a high mountain area, anywhere that you've been or any place you have seen. And there's a large rock that you can sit on. It's as though you're accelerating yourself and going up into the heavens. It's the high mountains give us that feeling. And the air, as I said, is clear. Clears your head, clears all of your being as you breathe it in. As you're sitting there with your eyes closed, seeing this scene, you notice the greenery around you. You can hear. There are birds twittering in the trees and in the bushes. Bringing yourself so high up above everything. And you can look down below and see the river. But it's so much smaller than what it was when you were down there. Because now you have God's view. It's all there, flowing under your care. And all of life that exists in the animal world and moving through the mountains, all the butterflies and the flowers, all the beauty of the earth. And you see it from this elevated place. Wisdom is often seen metaphorically as the top of a mountain. Where you can now view the world and handle it from here. As the clouds drift by, you feel you can touch them. And while the stars are out all the time, maybe you can catch a glimpse and feel one with them. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Said by a wise man in the year 150, Marcus Aurelius. very close to the time of Jesus. When Jesus meditated in high places. We are now one with him. And now, as you are experiencing the vastness of this world and the beauty of it, we begin to take our leave of the mountain. You now descend the mountain. As you're descending, you're bringing your beautiful energies and thoughts from spirit with you. You are accompanied by those in spirit who have joined you and are bringing you back to that place in your heart, the place you designated as your heart. Go back there. Return to the beauty of your heart and the loving embrace of your Creator. And here we give thanks for this opportunity to enjoy the company of angels and our guides and the masters who've been with us this evening. We thank God for the opportunity to meditate, to pray, and to help others along the way. We promise here to remember our divinity and our guidance that we do have, that we have our protection from on high. And as we set our intention every day and ask for the balance to be had in this life, it's given. And when you're finished, you can get up and go now. Find a pathway going back to your front door, to where you live in the physical. And as you're entering, you are reintegrating, coming back, bringing with you all of those wonderful gifts from Spirit, insights, and you will take your seat and open your eyes. And return to our chapel service. Thank you for coming this evening. We're going to end with our usual reminder to go to ccwh.com and visit, if you can, the PayPal button. And if we can, share with us. Anything you share with us is gratefully received. And in anticipation of that gift, I would like to say the blessing. Father, Mother, God, you are the giver of every good and perfect gift. Give us grateful hearts that we may share freely with others all you have given us. Amen. And now we will join hands, and in your own way, from your home, you can remember our unique words that go with this.